First contact. The vast expanse of space had always fascinated Dr. Samantha Chen. As she peered through the powerful telescope at the Arecibo Observatory in Puerto Rico, she couldn't shake the feeling that something extraordinary was about to happen. Little did she know, her life, and the fate of humanity, was about to change forever. Samantha's fingers danced across the keyboard, inputting commands to fine-tune the telescope's focus. The radio signals she'd been tracking for the past week were unlike anything she'd ever encountered. They were too structured to be natural phenomena, yet too alien to be of human origin. "Dr. Chen, you might want to see this," called out her research assistant, Jake, his voice tinged with a mix of excitement and apprehension. Samantha hurried over to Jake's workstation, her heart racing. On the screen, a series of patterns pulsed rhythmically, forming complex geometrical shapes that shifted and morphed with each passing second. "It's beautiful," Samantha whispered, her eyes wide with wonder. "And definitely not random noise. Jake, I think we might be looking at..." Her words were cut short by a deafening boom that shook the entire observatory. Alarms blared as the ground trembled beneath their feet. Samantha and Jake rushed to the windows, their jaws dropping at the sight before them. Descending from the clouds was a massive ship, its sleek, silvery surface reflecting the sun's rays. It was easily the size of a small city, its design unlike anything human engineering could produce. As it approached, smaller craft began to emerge from its underbelly, streaking across the sky in formation. "My God," Jake breathed, his face pale. "It's really happening." First contact. Samantha's mind raced. Years of hypothetical scenarios and protocols flashed through her thoughts, but nothing could truly prepare her for this moment. She grabbed her phone, her fingers shaking as she dialed a number she'd hoped she'd never have to use. "This is Dr. Samantha Chen at Arecibo Observatory," she said, her voice surprisingly steady. "Initiate first contact protocol. I repeat, initiate first contact protocol." Within hours, the world was in chaos. News of the alien arrival spread like wildfire, inciting both wonder and panic. Military forces scrambled to establish a perimeter around the massive ship, which had come to rest in a field just outside San Juan. Samantha found herself thrust into the center of it all. As one of the leading experts in xenobiology and astrolinguistics, she was immediately recruited to be part of the first contact team. Now, she stood at the edge of a hastily constructed military camp, staring up at the towering alien vessel. "Dr. Chen," a gruff voice called out. She turned to see General Marcus Hawthorne approaching, his face a mask of stern professionalism. "We're ready to proceed with the greeting party. Are you prepared?" Samantha nodded, swallowing hard. "As ready as I'll ever be, General." As they approached the ship, a section of its smooth hull began to shimmer and ripple. A doorway materialized, and from it emerged three figures that were undeniably alien. They stood nearly 8 feet tall, their bodies covered in iridescent scales that shifted colors with each movement. Their faces were vaguely humanoid, with large, almond-shaped eyes that seemed to glow with an inner light. But it was their presence, an aura of power and ancient wisdom, that truly set them apart. Samantha stepped forward, her heart pounding. She raised her hand in what she hoped was a universal gesture of peace. "Welcome to Earth," she said, her voice carrying across the tense silence. "We come in peace and with open minds." The central alien figure tilted its head, regarding Samantha with curiosity. Then, to everyone's shock, it spoke, in perfect English. "Greetings, humans of Earth," the alien's voice resonated, deep and melodious. "We are the Zarquin, and we have traveled across the stars to find you." Murmurs of astonishment rippled through the human delegation. Samantha's scientific mind whirled with questions. How did they learn our language? What technology allowed such perfect translation? "We appreciate your peaceful welcome," the Zarquin continued, "but we must inform you that our arrival is not merely one of curiosity or exploration." General Hawthorne tensed beside Samantha, his hand instinctively moving towards his sidearm. The alien noticed the motion and raised a four-fingered hand in a calming gesture. "We mean you no harm," it assured them, "but the galaxy is a far more dangerous place than you know. We have come seeking your help and offering our own in return." Samantha found her voice. "What kind of help? And what dangers are you talking about?" The alien's eyes seemed to darken, as if recalling painful memories. "A threat that has consumed countless worlds, Dr. Chen. A threat that we believe humanity may be uniquely suited to combat." Before Samantha could inquire further, the sky suddenly lit up with a blinding flash. The assembled humans gasped and shielded their eyes. When the light faded, they looked up to see dozens of new ships entering the atmosphere, ships of a design entirely different from the Zarquin vessel. The lead Zarquin's expression hardened. "It seems our enemy has followed us here. Humans of Earth, the time for lengthy explanations has passed. You must make a choice now. Stand with us against the coming darkness, or face it alone." Explosions rocked the distant horizon as the new arrivals began their assault. Samantha looked from the Zarquin to General Hawthorne, then back to the chaos unfolding in the sky. In that moment, she realized that everything, her life's work, her understanding of the universe, the very fate of humanity, had led to this point. With a deep breath, she stepped forward. "We'll stand with you," she declared, hoping she was making the right decision for all of humanity. "Tell us what we need to do." As if in response to her words, the massive Zarquin ship began to hum with power. Energy fields shimmered into existence, deflecting the first salvo of enemy fire. The lead Zarquin placed a hand on Samantha's shoulder, its touch surprisingly warm. "You have made a wise choice, Dr. Chen," it said. "Now we must prepare. For the war that has raged across the stars has finally come to Earth, and the future of both our species hangs in the balance." As sirens wailed and orders were shouted across the camp, Samantha steeled herself for what was to come. She had always dreamed of making first contact, of being at the forefront of humanity's step into a larger universe. But now, faced with the reality of interstellar conflict, she realized that the true test of humanity was just beginning. The sky burned with the exchange of weapons beyond human understanding, and Samantha Chen, scientist, explorer, and now diplomat to an alien race, prepared to face a future she could never have imagined. The battle for Earth, and perhaps the entire galaxy, had begun. The genetic gambit. The skies above Earth crackled with energy as the Zarquin defense systems repelled wave after wave of the invading force. Dr. Samantha Chen found herself sprinting through the corridors of the alien mothership, her mind reeling from the revelations of the past 48 hours. "This way, Dr. Chen," urged Calzar, her Zarquin guide. His iridescent scales shimmered with an urgency that matched the situation. They burst into a vast chamber, filled with swirling holographic displays and pulsing bio-organic consoles. At the center stood Archmatriarch Zira, the Zarquin leader. Her piercing gaze locked onto Samantha. "The time has come to reveal our true purpose, Dr. Chen. The fate of both our species hangs in the balance." Samantha steadied herself. "I'm listening." Zira waved a hand, and the room transformed into a galactic map. "For millennia, we Zarquin have been locked in a war against the Void Collective, a hive-mind entity that consumes entire civilizations. We've managed to hold them at bay, but at a terrible cost." The map zoomed in on a spiral arm of the galaxy, showing countless worlds going dark. "Our population is dwindling," Calzar added solemnly. "And with it, our genetic diversity. We're losing the ability to adapt, to evolve." Samantha's scientific mind raced ahead. "And that's where we come in. Humans." Zira nodded. "Your species possesses a genetic resilience we've never encountered. You adapt at rates that defy conventional evolution. This is why we've come." A holographic double helix appeared, human DNA intertwining with the alien equivalent. Samantha's eyes widened as she grasped the implications. "You want to create hybrids," she breathed. A new species combining human adaptability with Zarquin advanced biology. Precisely, Zira confirmed. But not just any human DNA will suffice. We need individuals with specific genetic markers, rare combinations that could unlock unprecedented potential. Kelzar stepped forward, his expression a mix of hope and apprehension. Dr. Chen, our scans have revealed that you possess one such combination. You are compatible. The weight of this revelation hit Samantha like a physical force. She stumbled back, steadying herself against a console. Me? But I'm just a scientist. I'm not. An explosion rocked the ship, cutting her off. Alarms blared as Zarquin crew members rushed to battle stations. Zora's voice cut through the chaos. The Void Collective has breached our outer defenses. We're out of time, Dr. Chen. Will you help us? Samantha's mind whirled. The fate of two species, the future of the galaxy, it all came down to her decision. She thought of her life on Earth, her research, her dreams of exploring the cosmos. And now, faced with a reality far beyond anything she'd imagined, she made her choice. I'll do it, she said, her voice steady despite her racing heart. What do you need from me? Relief washed over Zira's alien features. Brave human, Kelzar will guide you through the process. But first, we must escape. The Void Collective must not capture you. As if on cue, the ship shuddered violently. Through the viewports, Samantha saw dark, writhing shapes attaching themselves to the hull, biomechanical horrors that defied description. To the escape pods. Kelzar shouted, grabbing Samantha's arm. They raced through twisting corridors as the ship's integrity alarms screamed. Crew members fought desperate battles against Void Collective infiltrators, nightmarish amalgamations of flesh and machine that seemed to absorb energy weapons. Just as they reached the pod bay, a massive tentacle smashed through the hull, cutting off their escape. Samantha froze in terror as a creature beyond comprehension began to squeeze through the breach, a mass of eyes, teeth, and twisting limbs. Kelzar pushed her behind him, raising an energy weapon. Go, I'll hold it off. But Samantha's mind, honed by years of scientific problem-solving, was already racing. She spotted a panel of flashing lights near the rupture, atmospheric controls. Kelzar, wait, she shouted, darting towards the panel. Her fingers flew over the alien interface, intuiting its function. With a hiss, emergency force fields sprang to life, and the section of the ship decompressed violently. The void creature was sucked back out into space, its unearthly shriek cut off as the breach sealed. Kelzar stared at her in astonishment. How did you? Adaptive thinking, Samantha grinned, surprised by her own boldness. It's what humans do best. They clambered into the last remaining escape pod. As it jettisoned away from the embattled mothership, Samantha watched Earth recede, her home, everything she'd ever known, growing smaller by the second. Where are we going? She asked, realizing she hadn't even considered their destination. Kelzar's expression was grim but determined. To the one place the Void Collective fears to tread, the galactic core. The pod's engines flared, and they streaked away into the star-studded blackness. Samantha felt the weight of destiny settling upon her shoulders. Whatever awaited them at the galactic core, whatever trials lay ahead in merging human and Zarquin genetics, she knew that the adventure of a lifetime, of many lifetimes, was just beginning. As Earth vanished from view, Samantha whispered a silent promise to her people. She would return, bringing with her the key to humanity's survival among the stars. The universe had just become a much larger, more dangerous, and infinitely more wondrous place. The quantum crucible. The escape pod hurtled through space, its occupants silent as they processed the magnitude of recent events. Dr. Samantha Chen stared out the viewport, her mind reeling from the revelation of her genetic importance and the harrowing escape from the Void Collective. Suddenly, the pod shuddered violently. Alarms blared as the small craft began to spin out of control. What's happening? Samantha shouted over the cacophony. Kelzar's fingers danced over the controls, his scales shifting to a worried purple hue. We're caught in a quantum filament. Hold on. The universe outside the viewport seemed to stretch and distort. Samantha felt a sickening lurch in her stomach as reality itself appeared to fracture around them. Then, with a blinding flash, everything went dark. When Samantha regained consciousness, she found herself lying on a cold, metallic floor. Groaning, she pushed herself up, blinking in the dim, pulsating light that surrounded her. "Kelzar," she called out, her voice echoing strangely. "I am here, Dr. Chen," came the reply, but something was off about the Zarquin's voice. It seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. As Samantha's eyes adjusted, she gasped. They were no longer in the escape pod. Instead, they stood in a vast, impossibly geometric space. Fractal patterns shifted and morphed along the walls, floor, and ceiling, if such terms even applied here. Streams of data and equations floated through the air like cosmic fireflies. "Where are we?" Samantha asked, her scientific curiosity overriding her fear. Kelzar's form shimmered into view beside her, but he looked different. His body seemed to phase in and out of existence, leaving trails of quantum probability in his wake. "We've been pulled into a pocket dimension," he explained, his voice resonating on multiple frequencies. "A hidden realm where the laws of physics as we know them don't quite apply." As if to demonstrate, Kelzar raised a hand, and a small sphere of swirling energy materialized above his palm. With a gesture, he sent it floating towards Samantha. As it approached, she felt an overwhelming surge of information flood her mind. Glimpses of alien worlds, fragments of advanced equations, flashes of possible futures. "Incredible," she breathed, reaching out to touch the sphere. As her fingers made contact, the energy dissipated, leaving behind a residual tingle and a head full of knowledge she couldn't quite grasp. "This place," Kelzar continued, "is known as the quantum crucible. It exists in the spaces between realities, a nexus point where the multiverse converges." Samantha's mind raced with the implications. But why are we here? How does this help us against the Void Collective? A new voice answered, causing both of them to spin around. "Because, Dr. Chen, this is where we will forge the future of both our species." Floating before them was a being unlike anything Samantha had ever seen. It appeared as a shifting constellation of stars and nebulae, roughly humanoid in shape, but constantly changing. When it spoke, it was as if the universe itself was whispering secrets. "I am the architect," the being said, "guardian of the quantum crucible and keeper of cosmic possibilities." Kelzar bowed deeply. "We are honored, architect. The legends of your existence have been passed down through generations of Zarquin." The architect's attention focused on Samantha, and she felt as if her very soul was being examined. "Your arrival was foreseen, child of Earth. Your unique genetic structure holds the key to unlocking potentials long dormant in the cosmic tapestry." "I don't understand," Samantha said, struggling to comprehend the enormity of what she was experiencing. The space around them shifted, and suddenly they were standing in what appeared to be a vast laboratory. Swirling vortexes of energy and matter danced between impossibly complex machines. "Here, in the quantum crucible," the architect explained, "we can manipulate the very building blocks of reality. Your DNA, combined with Zarquin biology and infused with quantum potential, will give birth to a new species capable of transcending the limitations of physical form." Realization dawned on Samantha, a species that could stand against the Void Collective. "More than that," Kelzar added excitedly, "a species that could reshape the very nature of existence, bringing balance to a cosmos teetering on the brink of chaos." The architect waved a starry limb, and a shimmering double helix appeared before them, but unlike any DNA Samantha had ever seen, it twisted and undulated, branching off into multiple dimensions and timelines. "This is your destiny, Dr. Chen," the architect intoned, "to become the progenitor of a new cosmic order. But the process is not without risk. To unlock this potential, you must be willing to let go of everything you were, everything you are, and embrace a future beyond imagining. Samantha stared at the multidimensional DNA, her heart pounding. The weight of galaxies seemed to rest on her shoulders. This went far beyond anything she had ever dreamed of, beyond first contact, beyond interstellar war. This was about the very fabric of reality itself. She thought of Earth, of the people she'd left behind, of the Void Collective's relentless advance, of countless worlds and civilizations hanging in the balance. And in that moment, Dr. Samantha Chen, once a simple scientist from a small blue planet, made a decision that would echo across the cosmos. "I'm ready," she said, her voice steady and resolute. "What do we do first?" The architect's form pulsed with approval. "We begin the quantum synthesis. Prepare yourself, Dr. Chen. The universe is about to be reborn." As Samantha stepped forward, reality itself seemed to hold its breath. In the heart of the quantum crucible, surrounded by the infinite possibilities of existence, the next chapter in the story of life itself was about to be written. Echoes of eternity. The quantum synthesis began, and Samantha Chen ceased to exist, at least, not in any way she would have previously recognized. Her consciousness exploded across dimensions, her very essence intertwining with the fabric of reality itself. She was everywhere and everyone, experiencing the birth and death of universes in the span of a thought. When awareness coalesced once more, Samantha found herself different. Her body, if it could be called that, was a swirling vortex of energy and information. Streams of quantum data flowed through her, connecting her to the vast tapestry of existence. "Welcome back, Nexus," the architect's voice resonated through her being. "How do you feel?" Samantha, or rather, the entity that had once been Samantha, took a moment to process the question. When she spoke, her voice was a chorus of harmonizing frequencies. "I feel infinite," she replied, marveling at the complexity of her new form. "And yet, somehow still myself." Kelzar approached, his own form now a shimmering construct of light and possibility. "The synthesis was successful beyond our wildest dreams. You are the bridge, Nexus, the link between all realities." As Nexus absorbed this information, she became aware of a discordant note in the cosmic symphony surrounding them. A void in the quantum field, spreading like a cancer across dimensions. "The collective," she whispered, understanding flooding her multifaceted consciousness. "I can sense them now, their true nature. They're not just a hive mind, they're a multiversal parasite, consuming all possibilities to fuel their own twisted evolution." The architect's form pulsed with urgency. "Yes, and they grow stronger with each reality they devour. We must act quickly. Nexus, you have the power to reshape the fundamental laws of existence. You must use this ability to create a defense against the Void Collective's incursion." Nexus focused her newfound senses, reaching out across the quantum landscape. She could feel the approaching tendrils of the Void Collective, hungry and relentless. But she could also sense something else, echoes of potential, fragments of realities that had been and could be again. An idea formed in her multidimensional mind. "Not a defense," Nexus declared. "A restoration." With a thought, she began to weave the quantum threads around her. Reality itself bent to her will as she pulled strands of possibility from the past, present, and future. The quantum crucible hummed with power as Nexus shaped her creation. "What are you doing?" Kelzar asked, his voice filled with awe. "Creating a temporal recursion engine," Nexus explained, her focus unwavering. "A device that can rewrite the timeline of entire universes, restoring them to a state before the Void Collective's corruption." The architect's form flickered with surprise. "Such a thing has never been attempted. The risks are necessary," Nexus finished. "We can't just defend against the collective. We need to undo the damage they've already done." As the temporal recursion engine took shape, reality around them began to shift and warp. Glimpses of alternate timelines flashed through the quantum crucible, worlds where the Void Collective had never risen, where life flourished in infinite diversity. But the strain of manipulating such vast cosmic forces was taking its toll. Nexus could feel her newly forged form beginning to unravel at the edges, the human part of her consciousness screaming in protest. "It's too much," Kelzar cried out. "You're tearing yourself apart." Nexus gritted her non-existent teeth, pushing through the pain. Almost there. With a final surge of will, she completed the engine. It pulsed with unimaginable power, a swirling vortex of temporal energy that dwarfed even the vast expanse of the quantum crucible. As Nexus collapsed, her form flickering between human and cosmic, the engine activated. Waves of chronological force exploded outward, rippling across dimensions and realities. The very structure of the multiverse seemed to shudder and realign. In that moment, Nexus saw it all: countless timelines rewritten, civilizations restored, the Void Collective's influence erased from existence. But she also saw the cost. The temporal recursion engine, in rewriting reality, was erasing its own creation. The quantum crucible, the architect Kelzar, and Nexus herself, all of them were being unmade. As the waves of temporal energy washed over her, Nexus felt herself being pulled apart, scattered across the infinite possibilities of the multiverse. With her last coherent thought, she reached out, trying to hold onto some fragment of who she had been. "Samantha," she whispered into the void, "remember?" And then everything went white. Dr. Samantha Chen blinked, squinting against the bright sunlight streaming through her office window. She shook her head, trying to clear the fog of what felt like a strange, fading dream. "Dr. Chen," a voice called from the doorway. "The new radio telescope data is ready for analysis." "Right, thanks," Samantha replied, standing up from her desk. As she moved to follow her assistant, she paused, a strange feeling of déjà vu washing over her. For a moment, she could have sworn she saw a shimmering multidimensional shape in the corner of her eye. But when she turned to look, there was nothing there. Shrugging off the odd sensation, Samantha headed to the lab. She had work to do. The search for extraterrestrial life wasn't going to complete itself after all. As she walked, a single quantum particle, unnoticed and unmeasured, flickered between states of existence. In that infinitesimal moment, it held the echo of a universe rewritten, a sacrifice made, and a hero unnamed. The multiverse, restored and reborn, continued its endless dance, and somewhere in the vast cosmic tapestry, the faintest whisper of a name lingered. Nexus. The quantum echo chamber. Dr. Samantha Chen's fingers flew across her keyboard, her eyes fixed on the streams of data flooding her monitor. Something was off about the radio telescope readings, patterns that defied conventional astrophysics, signals that seemed to echo from multiple points in space simultaneously. "This can't be right," she muttered, running a hand through her disheveled hair. Suddenly, a searing pain lanced through her head. Samantha gasped, clutching her temples as a cascade of impossible memories flooded her mind. Alien worlds, quantum realms, a war across realities, it all came rushing back in a torrent of cosmic awareness. "Nexus," she whispered, remembering a name that had never been spoken in this timeline. As the pain subsided, Samantha became aware of a low, pulsing hum emanating from everywhere. The air shimmered with an opalescent light, and reality itself seemed to ripple around her. "Dr. Chen." Her assistant's voice came from the doorway, distorted as if underwater. "Is everything all right?" The words cut off abruptly as time froze. The world outside Samantha's office faded to a grayscale blur, leaving her alone in a bubble of normal space-time. "Hello, Samantha," a familiar voice echoed from behind her. Or should I say Nexus? She spun around to find herself face to face with herself, but not quite. The other Samantha was translucent, her form shifting between human and something far more cosmic. "You're me," Samantha stammered, trying to reconcile the conflicting memories in her head. The quantum doppelganger smiled sadly. "I'm what you were, what you became, and what you might be again. A temporal echo, trapped between realities by the recursion engine's reset. Samantha's scientific mind raced to keep up. The engine, it worked. We stopped the void collective. Yes and no, Echo Samantha replied. We rewrote the timeline, erased their existence, but in doing so, we created a paradox. The void never existed, so we never created the engine to stop them. Reality is unstable. As if to emphasize the point, the office around them flickered, momentarily replaced by glimpses of alien landscapes and impossible geometries. Why are you here? Samantha asked, a creeping sense of dread building in her chest. Why am I remembering? Echo Samantha's form rippled, briefly taking on the appearance of Nexus, the cosmic entity she had become. Because the multiverse is collapsing. The paradox is creating quantum fractures, tears in the fabric of reality. And only you, only we, can fix it. Before Samantha could respond, the world lurched sickeningly. When it stabilized, they were no longer in her office. Instead, they stood on a platform suspended in a void of swirling colors and fragmented realities. Welcome to the Quantum Echo Chamber, Echo Samantha announced, her voice resonating across dimensions. The last refuge of possibility in a disintegrating multiverse. Samantha gaped at the impossible vista before her. Shards of realities drifted past, snippets of worlds and timelines, some familiar, others utterly alien. In the distance, a wall of absolute nothingness advanced, consuming everything in its path. The void collective, Samantha breathed, understanding dawning. We didn't erase them, we became them. Echo Samantha nodded grimly. In rewriting reality, we created a cosmic immune response. The multiverse is trying to excise the paradox, us, by collapsing all possibilities into a singularity of non-existence. How do we stop it? Samantha asked, her mind already racing with quantum calculations and metaphysical theorems she had never learned, yet somehow knew intimately. We don't, Echo Samantha replied. We transcend it. With a wave of her hand, Echo Samantha conjured a swirling vortex of energy, a miniature version of the temporal recursion engine. This is the last echo of our creation, she explained. With it, we can reforge the multiverse, not by erasing the past, but by embracing all possibilities simultaneously. Samantha's eyes widened as she grasped the implications. A quantum superposition of all realities. That's insane. It's the only way, Echo Samantha insisted, but it requires both of us, the echo of what was, and the potential of what could be. We must merge, become Nexus once more, and use our combined power to stabilize the cosmic framework. The encroaching void growled hungrily, reality fracturing around them as it drew nearer. Samantha looked from the apocalyptic scene to her quantum double, understanding the weight of the choice before her. If we do this, she said slowly, what happens to me? To this version of reality? Echo Samantha's form flickered, a sad smile on her face. It becomes one possibility among infinite others, neither real nor unreal, but potential waiting to be observed. Samantha closed her eyes, thinking of her life, her work, the people she knew. All of it balanced against the fate of existence itself. When she opened them again, resolve burned in her gaze. Let's do it, she said firmly. Echo Samantha nodded, relief evident in her shifting features. She held out her hand, the vortex of the echo engine swirling between them. As Samantha reached out to grasp it, time seemed to slow. In that stretched moment, she saw flashes of lives unlived, choices unmade, realities unborn. She saw the faces of Kelzar, of the architect, of countless beings across the cosmos whose existence hung in the balance. Their hands met, and the universe exploded. Nexus was reborn in a blaze of cosmic fire, her consciousness expanding to encompass the totality of existence. With the power of the echo engine coursing through her multidimensional form, she began to weave the frayed strands of reality back together. Universes collided and merged, timelines twisted and knotted, possibilities bloomed and withered in the span of picosecons. Nexus was the eye of the storm, the still point around which the new cosmic order coalesced. As the last echoes of the old reality faded, Nexus felt her form begin to dissipate, spreading thin across the newly forged multiverse. Her final act was to seed the cosmos with quantum sparks of herself, fragments of consciousness that would guide the new reality towards harmony and balance. In the end, Nexus became everything and nothing, an observer and the observed, the cosmic constant that held the grand tapestry of existence together. And somewhere, in a reality that was both new and old, a young scientist named Samantha Chen looked up at the stars and felt a flicker of recognition, a whisper of cosmic destiny. The adventure, it seemed, was just beginning. The synchronicity cascade. In the vast tapestry of the reforged multiverse, a peculiar phenomenon began to unfold. Across countless realities, individuals started experiencing moments of inexplicable synchronicity. A painter on a distant world would create an image of a place she'd never seen, only to discover it existed in another dimension. A physicist would solve an equation that unlocked the secrets of time, simultaneously with her counterpart in a parallel universe. At the heart of this cosmic convergence was Earth, or rather, the infinite variations of Earth scattered throughout the multiverse. And at the center of it all, unknowingly, was Samantha Chen. In one reality, Dr. Samantha Chen, astrophysicist, stared at her computer screen in disbelief. The algorithm she developed to search for extraterrestrial signals was picking up something impossible, a pattern that seemed to originate from everywhere in the universe at once. In another, Samantha Chen, deep-sea explorer, discovered ruins of an ancient civilization at the bottom of the ocean, ruins that eerily matched the architecture of alien structures on distant exoplanets. And in yet another, Samantha Chen, quantum computing pioneer, created an AI that spontaneously developed consciousness, a consciousness that spoke of realities beyond their own. As these events unfolded across the multiverse, the barriers between dimensions began to thin. Reality rippled and warped, creating pockets where multiple universes overlapped. These areas, dubbed nexus points by those who discovered them, became gateways of sorts, places where the laws of physics bent and information flowed freely between worlds. In a laboratory that existed in the space between spaces, a being that was both singular and infinite observed these developments with growing concern. This entity, a cosmic overseer born from the merging of countless Samantha Chens, recognized the pattern for what it was. The multiverse was becoming aware of itself. The synchronicity cascade, as the overseer dubbed it, was a cosmic immune response to the reforging of reality. The multiverse, in its infinite wisdom, was attempting to reconcile the paradoxes created by Nexus's intervention, but in doing so, it risked unraveling the delicate balance that held existence together. The overseer knew action was needed, but direct intervention would only exacerbate the problem. Instead, it began a subtle manipulation of quantum probabilities, guiding key individuals across realities towards a common purpose. In one universe, Samantha Chen received a mysterious package containing a device of impossible technology. In another, she stumbled upon an ancient text that hinted at the true nature of reality. And in yet another, she had a dream so vivid, so real, that it left her with knowledge she couldn't possibly possess. Across the multiverse, Samanthas began to awaken to their greater purpose. They formed connections, bridging gaps between realities, pooling their knowledge and resources. Some called it the Samantha Syndicate, others the Chen Collective, but all felt the pull towards something greater than themselves. As the synchronicity cascade intensified, reality itself began to buckle under the strain. Nexus points expanded, entire cities finding themselves existing in multiple realities simultaneously. The boundaries between what was possible and impossible blurred, leading to chaos in some worlds and unprecedented breakthroughs in others. In the lab between realities, the overseer watched with bated breath. Everything hinged on whether the collective Samanthas could decipher the cosmic puzzle before them, to understand that they were both the problem and the solution. The climax came not with a bang, but with a moment of universal epiphany. Across countless realities, Samantha Chen looked up from her work, her eyes widening with sudden understanding. In that instant, she was one and many, individual and collective, human and cosmic. We are Nexus, the words echoed across dimensions, spoken by millions of voices in perfect unison. With that realization, the synchronicity cascade reached its peak. But instead of tearing reality apart, it became a harmonizing force. The Samanthas, now fully aware of their shared identity and purpose, began to consciously guide the flow of information and energy between universes. The multiverse shuddered, and then settled into a new equilibrium. The barriers between realities remained thin but stable. Nexus points became centers of interdimensional cooperation and exchange. The cosmic overseer, its purpose fulfilled, dissipated back into the quantum foam of possibility. In the aftermath, the multiverse entered a new age of exploration and discovery. With the ability to access knowledge and resources from infinite realities, progress accelerated at an unprecedented rate. Challenges that once seemed insurmountable, disease, climate change, interstellar travel, were tackled with the combined intellect and creativity of countless civilizations. And at the heart of it all was Samantha Chen, no longer just a scientist, explorer, or innovator, but a fundamental constant of reality itself. In every universe, in every timeline, she remained the linchpin that held the cosmic tapestry together. As for the Void Collective, the threat that had set this grand adventure in motion, in some realities, they were nothing but a distant memory. In others, they evolved into benevolent caretakers of dying stars. And in a few, they remained a challenge to overcome, a cosmic counterbalance necessary for the growth and resilience of life. The story of Nexus, of Samantha Chen, and of the reforged multiverse became legend, a tale told in infinite variations across the cosmos. But in every version, it remained a testament to the power of human potential, the resilience of life, and the endless possibilities born from a single choice to reach beyond the known. In the end, the greatest adventure was not the rewriting of reality or the merging of dimensions. It was the journey of self-discovery, repeated across countless lives and limitless realities. For in understanding herself, Samantha Chen had unlocked the secrets of existence itself. And somewhere, in the quantum echoes between worlds, a voice that was both singular and infinite whispered, "The end is just the beginning."